What's up, y'all? It's your girl V with Reality Recap here for another live Tea Talk session. Today, we are discussing the latest episode of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. But stay tuned. It's going to be a two-parter today. I'm going to do 30 minutes on Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, and then I will be back at 6:30 right after this to recap the latest episode of Love and Hip Hop Miami. It's a back-to-back situation today. So welcome. We are streaming live right now across Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Please, the chats are open. Please let me know your thoughts on the episode. As I give you my unsolicited thoughts, let's take care of a little bit of business. Please make sure you like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's Reality Recap 2876 is coming across the screen. And follow me, Reality underscore recap on Facebook, Instagram, and on TikTok for all the trending reality news. The episode that we'll be discussing for Real Housewives of Salt Lake City is season 6, episode 9. I believe the title of the episode is, yes, Unicorn Overboard. So, yeah, let's get into it. But right before we do get into it, let me know on Instagram. What does the view look like to you on Instagram right now, y'all? Because it look a little crazy to me. I don't know. I don't know. The view on Instagram looks a little bit crazy. I'm not sure why it looks like that. StreamYard is doing some things differently. But also, again, before we get into it, really quickly, guys, there was a trailer that dropped for a documentary that will be coming out on January 1st. The name of it, let me get the name of it. The name of the documentary is coming on TLC January 1st at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 Central. The Cult of the Real Housewife. This is a documentary on Mary Cosby. It seems to delve into her marriage to her step granddaddy. It also gets into her church. It seems like some disgruntled past members of her church spilling the tea on their experience, their accusations and allegations of Mary and her husband running a cult. And we've seen glimpses of that in the earlier seasons where they talked about her church and, people saying that, they were blindly leading, not blindly leading, but blindly following after Mary and giving her all of their money. So it seems like, this is going to be airing on TLC again January 1st. If you need to see the trailer, it's on my Instagram and Facebook right here. What you see at the bottom of the screen, reality underscore recap. If you want to take a look at the trailer, I just said TLC was so messy for dropping this trailer days before BravoCon. I can't wait to watch it. Make sure you guys check that out. I'll definitely be talking about it and recapping it here. And I know I keep saying one more thing before we get into the episode, but literally one more thing. BravoCon is this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. While although Bravo, I think, has lost their heads and did not invite me to come, congratulations to all of my fellow content creator friends that will be in attendance that received their BravoCon PR boxes. They look so dope and amazing. I am watching you guys and happy for you guys. I will be stalking your pages so I can get all the tea. And don't forget, BravoCon will be streaming live on Peacock. So I will be able to keep up with the news and keep you guys informed on trailers that come out. I expect to see trailers of Real Housewives of Rhode Island, trailers of Shahs of Sunset reboot. Yeah, a few things I'm looking forward to that I think will drop at BravoCon. Exclusive trailers, exclusive interviews, panels, beefs that will turn into storylines on upcoming seasons of Housewives and other series. So, yeah, maybe next year they'll get it together and realize they need me in the building. But again, congratulations to all my fellow content creators. All right, let's get into the episode. Now, Jethro on Hey Jethro, thank you for checking in on Instagram. Said my thoughts are that Meredith and Lisa's reality is false. Team everyone else. Okay, Jethro. You are team everything else. Hi, Toria. Thank you for checking in on Facebook. you haven't watched the episode yet, but heard they say Meredith was picking at Brittany, but I don't believe that. We'll get into it. I don't know if it was picking, but all I can tell you right now is a hit dog, in my opinion, will holler. So let's talk about it. I didn't take any notes, so I'm kind of just looking at clips to remember the order of the episode, to be honest. But we were still on the yacht. They were wrapping up the yacht trip and getting ready to come home. Meredith had a conversation with Brittany in regards to not Brittany and Whitney. Meredith really was talking to Whitney, if I'm being honest, but she wanted to talk to Whitney about this information that Brittany brought back to the group about a TikTok video where someone was alleging that they saw Meredith's husband Seth in an Uber with his side chick, and Brittany talked to Whitney about it and brought it back to the group. And Meredith wanted to understand why Whitney did not give her a heads up. She was saying, hey, listen, like, you're supposed to be my friend. Why wouldn't you tell me about this? Why would you be on this boat with me all these days and not know about it? And in the meantime, Brittany is sitting behind Meredith trying to get conversation in. And she's like, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to Whitney. I don't want to talk to you. She's flipping her hair in Brittany's face and really ignoring her. I thought that conversation did go well, though, where Whitney really was saying, well, listen, I didn't bring it to you because I was giving Brittany a chance to bring it to you. I told her, like, I gave her an ultimatum: either you tell her or I'm gonna have to tell her. And she was saying she was trying to give her time to tell her. Whitney also said she didn't want to bring more light to it or give it legs because it's not something that she really believed. And it's not something, to be honest, that was picked up by any bloggers. It wasn't a headline, at least across my timelines, which means, in my opinion, it really wasn't nothing. But this seems to be like a one-off video that was done. Nothing that was actually, like I said, breaking news of Seth being caught in some Uber with a side chick. But my concern there was how upset Meredith got about this and how she wanted to get to the bottom of it and why Whitney didn't talk about it, and the whole thing on the plane, which we'll get to, that she caused such a ruckus on the airplane ride back. If it wasn't true allegations or in her gut there wasn't something that she knew about, I just don't think that it would have been that big of a thing. So that's what I mean by I say a hit dog will holler. Because if it's something that just little ditzy Brittany is bringing to the group, it's not that big of a deal. You brush it off and keep moving. But there's something, in my opinion, there's something behind it that made Meredith react this way. But the conversation with Meredith and Whitney at least seemed to be going well. And Whitney and Meredith said, like, look, I get it. You're in the middle of both of us. You're trying to be friends to both of us. But it just wasn't that big of a deal to me. Again, it's not something that was trending news ever of Seth being in this car. So it has to be something else to that. They get off the boat and Bron went through Jared's unicorn voice stuffed animal all overboard. And Brittany saw that it was through overboard. She got it and she was saying, who threw it overboard? Who threw my unicorn overboard? And nobody was owning up to it. And then Bronwyn finally said, yeah, I did it. It was supposed to be a joke. And clearly Brittany would have not thought that was a joke. But she threw it overboard, and Meredith Meredith had something to say because Meredith was in on it being thrown overboard, but she wasn't the one that threw it over. It was Bronwyn. But she said something that was hilarious to me, made me cackle. She was like, yeah, well, your unicorn was full of spray tan and makeup and needed a break, needed a wash. So we threw it overboard. I said, listen, Meredith mad as hell. That's it right there. Meredith is mad as hell over this Seth rumor nonsense. So Brittany was like, why would you guys do that? This is something he worked really hard on. Or she was like, he went the distance basically to do for me. And I'm saying, he went the distance because he went to Build-A-Bear and got a unicorn and put his voice in it. It was actually really weird and creepy. I don't get what he went the extra mile to do. I actually have to look at Mary from Kiki and Kidbits had interviewed Jared, And he had a different twist to it. I just watched a clip of it. I didn't watch the whole episode. But it seemed like he had a twist where he was saying like that's something that he did for his children, making those Build-A-Bears with the voice in it, not something that he actually specifically did for Britney, which I could believe. But I have to watch to get the full detail again. I just watched the clip, but Mary over at Kiki and Kibix did actually interview Jared, and he talked about the unicorn. So I guess that's where that's where the beginning of them saying that Meredith in the episode was picking on Brittany because she flipped her hair in her face. They threw her unicorn overboard. They weren't remorseful about it. And then we get on this infamous flight back home. I put the seating chart in the thumbnail of this episode where um everybody was pretty much sitting in first class. And there's two sides of the story. There's Meredith and Lisa's side of the story, and then there's everybody else's. But on both sides of the house, the stories are exactly the same. So Meredith has this story that she was on the plane, not talking to Brittany, but expressing her frustration about Brittany, about this rumor, how she doesn't like what Brittany did. But she says she was talking to Lisa, but Brittany was sitting directly in front of Meredith. And she's saying she did not get that loud. If she had gotten loud, that she would have been arrested or, on a no-fly list. While the rest of the group is saying that Meredith was unhinged, that she was yelling, hitting the back of Brittany's chair, that spilling wine on Brittany, that she was attacking her and verbally as far as saying, I want to see this video. Whitney, do you have the video? I want to see this TikTok video. They say that Lisa was, leaning forward into the next aisle saying, yeah, show her the video. You might as well show her the video. Lisa saying that she only mentioned it to her. She only leaned up and said, hey, you should show her the video. The stories are very, very different. What's mostly frustrating to me is that this was like a 5 to 6 hour flight. Now, mind you, Meredith is also saying that this argument only happened for 15 minutes or so, while we have the rest of the crew saying that it took place for hours on end. Like this was like people like Mary, Heather, they were saying like they went to sleep, woke back up. They were like nodding out now and would wake back up, and that Meredith was still going, still antagonizing Brittany. But again, there's no footage of this flight, which is extremely frustrating because we always see on a flight a phone diary, somebody take out their phone and say, hey, we're on our way here, or we're on our way back here, or something's happening. They pull out a phone when there's no cameras and mics up. They even say that production themselves were in first class with the cast, and nobody took out a phone or a camera to record this. So at this point, all we have is hearsay from everybody, and everyone's making their own conclusions on, do they believe Meredith and Lisa's story? Do they believe um the rest of the cast? I would just say, do they believe Mary and Bronwyn and everyone? Well, Bronwyn took a separate flight. Sorry, she did not fly back with any of them. She flew back separately. But Mary, Heather, Brittany, their story seems to align together. And again, Meredith and Lisa story aligns together. So you guys let me know in the comments who you think, whose story do you believe? I hope my mic doesn't cut out. Okay. Tell me whose story you believe. Toria said on Facebook, this Meredith and Brittany beef is funny. They need to keep it as a storyline. Every time Brittany starts, Meredith's face gets activated every single time, honey. And apparently this flight was no different. So yeah, I was thoroughly confused as to number one, why nobody filmed anything. I was thinking too, like if Meredith had done the things that they said she was doing, she probably would have got in some trouble. You cannot be acting a fool on a flight or in the airport. But also, Heather gave more context on Watch What Happens Live, where she said she thinks celebrity played a part. where everyone on the plane, that they pretty much were all housewives in first class. There was really no one else in first class but them, but the production crew. And the rest of the plane was kind of sitting back and watching this happen, but that no one really complained on the flight because it was more of a celebrity, like they were giving them celebrity status treatment. So I don't know. Again, guys, tell me your thoughts. Hey, Summer's Finest, thank you for checking in. But you guys tell me your thoughts. Whose story do you believe in this flight back and forth? I again believe there's some truth to it. I do believe that Meredith was on her "you can leave" attitude. I do believe that. Do I think she got violent or maybe threw wine? Or if she did nudge the back of her chair, was it something that was so violent and pushing her chair that it would have caused her to get kicked off a flight? I don't think so. But do I think she was elevated? Do I think it lasted longer than she said? Absolutely. And I feel like, honestly, it was purposely not filmed to cause such a ruckus between the Bravo community of what really happened on this flight, because everybody is talking about this. I think it was deliberately not filmed so we could be left in this dark. I wouldn't be surprised if at the reunion some footage is miraculously found. I really do. Like I feel like it was not filmed for a reason. Hell, part of me even felt like, did any of this happen? Or did they all just say, you know what, this is going to be the storyline? We're going to say that this happened on this flight. But somebody with footage, please come forward. Or someone that was on this flight, please come forward. We need to know more. You guys agree with me? Absolutely. Toria said you agree as well. Christian, thank you for checking in on Instagram. Said you agree. And Jethro said celebrity absolutely played a part in it. Yeah. So I mean, there was another flight that happened. Hey, Prim, how are you? Thank you for checking in. But yeah, another flight was happening at the same time that this flight back from their vacation was happening with Todd, which I kind of skimmed over in the episode. I was so engrossed in what the hell was happening on this flight, what did or did not happen, that I totally kind of grazed over the fact that Todd was also on a different flight coming back from New York, I believe. And there was someone sitting behind him who knew exactly where he was sitting, the row, the seat, the flight that he was on. And they looked over his shoulder and saw him looking at Instagram hoes on his phone and saying that he was looking at women's pictures. He was hearting them pictures. I'm making that up, but that he was scrolling and looking at some women or a woman on his phone on Instagram that was not Bronwyn. Yeah. So we get back to Salt Lake City. Bronwyn does meet with Whitney and she talks about these headlines that are out there. And they had a real transparent conversation that we don't really see housewives having often. And I told you, I do feel like Whitney this season is the queen of getting ahead of the storylines. Like she said, let me come and tell y'all about my pyramid scheme business that tanked before y'all make it a big storyline. Let me tell you about me allowing Justin or Justin allowing me to have side pieces before y'all dig that up and find out about it. I do feel like Whitney gets ahead of the storylines and she's becoming smarter and saying, if I am real on reality TV and tell y'all the truth, then y'all won't drag me. But Whitney and Bronwyn, they sit down and have a conversation. Bronwyn talks about these headlines, and Whitney shares with her, listen, I've been married to Justin for 15 years. There's been times where we thought the marriage was over. There's been times I've wanted to date or see someone. He's wanted to do the same, but we have a conversation about it. We have an agreement. Now, she did say that she doesn't necessarily define her marriage as an open marriage, but these are things that they have discussed and talked about in the past. So maybe the door is halfway open on the marriage. It ain't all the way open because it ain't like they could just go out and do whatever. They could just have conversation, but she didn't want to define it as an open marriage, but it was given the door is cracked. The door is partially open. You just got to ask, can you walk through the door first? That's what it was given to me. And, Bronwyn was saying that they're not at that point yet, but basically saying that she wouldn't be opposed to it. She also mentioned how Todd was kind of trying to blame this on the other housewives, saying like, "Oh, this is probably something Lisa or one of them are doing." No, sir, Lisa and them weren't on that flight. They was on the other flight, not filming what the hell was going on with Meredith and Brittany. So they wasn't on this flight with you. They didn't leak this information because they say Lisa leak everything. Which Heather also spoke on Watch What Happens Live about. She has receipts of Lisa leaking information to the press. She did not dispose of what that was. We'll probably see that more about that at the reunion, which has not filmed yet. But yeah, he tried to blame it on the housewives, and Bronwyn was saying, "Oh no, you can't. This one you can't blame on them." So their household is a little bit up in arms over this headline. So we'll see more about that in the upcoming episode. But yeah, I kind of that conversation went over my head, not completely over my head, because I was interested in the whole open marriage conversation. Because again, it's not something we've seen from housewives before, even though I think a lot of them have probably dealt with infidelity in one way or another, whether they were aware of it and they want to act like they weren't, or they don't want to discuss it. But it was kind of cool to see them have this transparent conversation. Um, at the end of the episode, right, we saw two conversations happen. We saw Lisa meet with Heather. We saw Meredith meet with Mary. And Lisa and Heather's conversation. First of all, Lisa left Heather sitting at that table from breakfast through brunch through goddamn lunch before she showed up. And she did not acknowledge that at all. I said, like, she came in and act like she was not 5 hours late. I'm exaggerating, but she was late as hell to that lunch and had Heather sitting there for a very long time and did not address that. Number one, I thought that was rude. Just had to put that out there. And I love Lisa, but I told you I'm nobody's stan. I tell you when I think you're right and when you're wrong. But they sit down to have this conversation, and it's like Twilight Zone. Because Lisa said, "No, I didn't say that to Brittany that way. I just leaned up and told her, hey, show her the video. I was not antagonizing Brittany. You know, she did say she didn't maybe necessarily agree with everything that Meredith was saying, but she was saying Meredith was just venting to me. She was venting to me her frustrations about Brittany." And Heather's saying, like, "Are you crazy? Like, I was on the flight. I was right there. I heard everything. What are you talking about? That's not how it went down." And she was almost like taken aback of how different their story was. And the same with Mary and Meredith. Meredith was really saying like, "Oh, that argument lasted about 10, 15 minutes." And Mary's like, no, this lasted for a long time." She said, "I've never seen you that upset before. Like, I've seen you upset before where you go off." But she said this was like a different level. And Meredith's like, "No, how would you know? You were across the aisle." And she was like, "But we were in first class. Like, it's not like I was across the aisle and 10 rows back. Like, I was right across the aisle." So you guys, did you see I put the CN chart, they had showed it. I can put it up here too. I'll put it up right here and make myself smaller. So this was the CN chart that they put up on the screen last night where they were in first class. It looked like Angie wasn't in first class though. It looked like she was right behind first class. Maybe she was business class. I don't know. But this is where Meredith and Lisa was, Brittany behind, Brittany in front of them actually, because that's the fifth row. So Lisa and Meredith, Brittany in front on the other side of the aisle. So Heather is literally sitting right across from them. So she had to hear everything. She did say she was sleeping and waking back up, but she continued to hear them arguing every time she woke back up. Whitney and Mary sitting together. So that's why I'm like, Meredith saying, "Well, Mary, you were sitting across the aisle, but look where she was." Like, I don't understand what the hell they are talking about. And then you have Angie up there, and again, Bronwyn took a separate flight. So yeah, she's definitely still can hear everything that's going on. So it made absolutely no sense how these stories are so different to me. I really don't. I don't get it at all. But it's part of the storyline. It has us talking. I'm sure it will be a topic of discussion at BravoCon, on all interviews and panels. So I will be locked in to make sure I get what everybody has to say about it since it happened, where they are now with their friendships. But yeah, they were in close quarters. And then everybody else in the gray seats were allegedly, not all of them, but most of them around them was supposedly production cameramen who all decided to put their equipment under the plane. Nobody had a carry on, nobody had a phone, everybody's phone was dead, nobody recorded anything. That is very unlikely. It's not making one bit of sense. Summer's Finest said, "Why didn't anyone change seats with Brittany?" I'm assuming because technically you're not supposed to do that. I don't know. I'm just joking, but yeah, I don't know why no one changed seats with her, but they say soon as they got off the flight, Brittany like melted into a puddle of tears in front of like Angie and Heather. So no one came to her rescue. Everyone just was dozing off. Like they was like this. Oh, they still arguing. Damn, Meredith sound mad. They still yelling at Brittany over there. Nobody did anything. Nobody switched seats. Nobody stepped in. It's not making any sense, y'all. It doesn't make any sense at all. But more to come on this. We really left with Heather and Lisa's friendship in a fractured space because y'all know Heather is big on her morals when she wants to be, and she's like, I can't believe she's lying about this, and um, you know, straight to my face. And then you have Meredith getting upset with Mary because Mary's telling her perception of it, and they're not in agreement on the time, how long it took, the argument, how much it escalated. So we're just at a loss right now of what the hell went on, and we're going to spend probably the remainder of the season trying to figure that out. But the mid-season trailer came out for Salt Lake City. It looks really good. Like this is just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more to come this season. I am truly enjoying this season. If you ask me, Salt Lake City is carrying Bravo on its back. I said what I said. This is the franchise to me. Potomac, cool. We'll see how it gets when Monique comes back. I'm looking forward to that. They're not too shabby over there, but not everybody is pulling their weight. Angel and Kay can go home, in my opinion. But it's always my favorite saying about Salt Lake City is all burners are always on. There's always multiple beefs. They don't never shy away from filming with each other, even when they have beefs, because that'll get your shit canceled or put on the shelf. Hey, New Jersey, take notes. They film whether they like the people in beefs with the people. They will get it done. They have multiple cash trips. I love it. I absolutely love this franchise. I do. You know. Yeah, Tori, I saw Jazzy Little Lion statement, girl. I told her, and she made it worse, talking about some the child. Like, that's your husband. Stop talking about other people's kids. That's what Jazzy needs to do. But yeah, this was a great episode. Y'all check out the mid-season trailer. It's on my Instagram. I reposted it from Bravo. It's also on my Facebook. They're also going to Greece this season, and I'm looking forward to that. Lastly, what I'll say about the episode is Electra and Angie. Angie is trying so hard to force her Greek culture on her daughter Electra. And this seems to me, she seems to be embarrassed about it. Like she's at her teenage years. She sees her mother on Salt Lake City Housewives, where I told you guys she pushes her storylines. Like I love Angie and what she brings to the show, but sometimes her one-liners seem already curated. The pushing of the Greek, and the sunglasses and the sweaters and the flags and all of that. It seems to be a part of the character she's built for the show. is how it comes apart. So that's how it comes across to me. But Electra seems thoroughly embarrassed and like she's asking Electra to do her horseback riding in the Olympics and represent Greece, even though she was born in America. It was like, girl, what are you talking about right now? But great show. Let me see some more of y'all comments and then I'm going to end this live and I'll be right back so we can do Love and Hip Hop Miami so I can make sure I have 2 episodes separately for the people, whoever likes what show. Jethro said you agree about Potomac. Someone's fine and said, yes, we on trip number 2. Yes, with another one in the works with them going to Greece. Summer fine said, please stop. We get it. You love your culture. Exactly, Angie. I said that already. Like, girl, you got to come up with something else. So, but I do. I feel like with Angie, her like you do French fries, I do franchises. It's almost as if she has a team making this stuff up for her so she's ready for the season. That's I'm not saying I don't like it. Love Angie. Loves what she brings to the show. I didn't always feel like that. I didn't like her when she first came on with Jen. I felt like she climbed up Jen's back to get on the show. I did feel that way, but she has grown on me. I love what she brings to the table. But right, Jethro. It gets a little cringy at sometimes how she tries to throw like, oh, the cucumber in the bag. Now everybody's gonna think it's mine because cucumbers are in Greek salads. Girl, cucumbers are in a chef salad. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, that's all I'm saying. It's like she plugs it every chance she gets. It's like, we know, sis. We know. Um, you can't wait for Jen's return, Summer Finest. Yeah, she gonna be out November 2026, and that may continue to move up. I don't know if she necessarily coming back to the show because Bravo. I mean, Andy seemed like he don't want no parts of her since she didn't do the interview with him before she went to jail. She posted and saying that they have reconciled that they had a professional conversation. I have not heard that from Andy's end. So just because she come back doesn't mean she would be on the show. I think they are fools if they don't bring her back to the show. She would make shit real interesting and she would make a lot of people uncomfortable. And I live for that. And I think it would be great reality TV gold. Definitely. Yes, Karen will definitely, in my opinion, Jethro, Karen will definitely be back. Karen will also make an appearance at BravoCon. She will be at BravoCon. So I'm looking forward to that. Karen and Wendy are scheduled to be at BravoCon. This will be Wendy's first appearance publicly since her arrest. And I did watch her wife swap episode, which was actually good. It's the only one I watched. I didn't watch anyone else's wife swap episode but Wendy's, with the magnifying glass to see if I could see that ring in those pocketbooks that she claimed in her insurance policy. Just kidding. Just kidding. It was a good episode. Yeah, Andy don't like Jen at all. Not at all. So we gonna have to see. Yes, Wendy has a court date December 2nd. So y'all know I'm gonna keep y'all posted on that. Y'all ain't even got to worry about that. And once I get the information, if I need to break it down with Simone, we will. But yes, she has secured a lawyer. I believe Eddie now has a lawyer as well. He didn't when the news first broke of her plea or what she's not doing a plea, but she's pleading not guilty, and she secured a lawyer and he didn't have one yet. But I believe he has one now and her court date is December 2nd. So yes. You think Wendy gonna win Summer's Finest? Okay. We'll see. I've seen stranger things, but I don't know. I don't know if she's gonna get off scot-free, but we'll see, y'all. So yes, that's my thoughts on Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. I'm trying to keep my episodes a little bit shorter right now so I can keep up with them while my father is back in the hospital, unfortunately, but doing well. Thank you for your prayers. I'm going to end this live and then give me about 2 minutes and I will be right back for us to recap the tomfoolery of Love and Hip Hop Miami season 7, episode 2. I was going to say 6, episode 2. So again, guys, thank you all for watching. Who loves Salt Lake City? Come back if you love Love and Hip Hop Miami. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Reality Recap 2876, so you can watch all of my pre-recorded and live episodes. I have been keeping up with them pre-recorded as well as some short videos on YouTube for my subscribers, as well as follow me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. What you see here at the bottom, reality_recap for all the trending reality news. All right. And as I always say before I end my shows, reality stars are humans too. Let's not forget that. I'll be back in 2 minutes for Love and Hip Hop Miami. Peace.